this is what I've waited for. This is what I've been anticipating. I thought this app was for like rappers and actors and international stars. However, I do think it is the new trend. Hello everyone, how we doing? Good morning, afternoon, evening, whichever one it is for all of you. First off, I hope everyone's well, hydrated, looking after themselves, aware and conscious of the nearest immediate exit. What's up everyone? Thanks for joining me. Welcome to my chit chat. Big up Jamaica. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jord. This is the Winning Side podcast. Thanks for coming through. And for those of you who do, I love you. What's up? Respect and love always. Guys, it hasn't been that long actually. I'm trying to be in my consistency bag. Whether that's long term, I guess we'll find out. But what's been going on? So it's only been a week since I've been here. So let me talk. What's been going on? What time was it? Do you know, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. What do I want to talk about today? Do you know what? Obviously, as everyone knows, I'm very single. Like, I'm very, very single. And I kind of... do I want to share this? Yeah, okay. So basically, right, I'm now officially a member of Raya, right? Raya, the dating app. I don't think I'll get in trouble for talking about it because I'm not going to say who I've seen. I'm just going to say what it is. So obviously Raya is a somewhat prestigious, either of a prestige or prestigious dating app, yeah. They say it's for celebrities, but I think it's more for like creative people, creative thinkers and creative people with their careers. I've been on this waiting list, right? I've been on this waiting list for, I want to say just under 2 years, something like that. And I remember a guest that was on here who, I don't know if he still is. Oh, sorry. I don't know if that person, don't want to give it away. I don't know if they're still on it, but I remember talking to them about it, and they were like, "Well, if you watch my stuff, you can go back and find it." But I remember them talking to them about it, and they were like, "Oh, I can get you on the app." I was like, "Oh, okay, say less." But I thought I cannot like keep on pestering somebody to get me on an app where like it may not be even what I expect. But yeah, like it generally seems to be the place where if you're gonna find a celebrity, it's gonna be on the app because they're very restrictive of who they let go on the app, right? So I've been on this waiting list for ages. To the point I actually forgot. I didn't even realize I was still waiting or pending. I just thought it just got disabled or like removed or whatever. So I literally thought nothing of it. I then get a text. Okay, let me give context. So I was like, do you know what? I'm single and Valentine's Day is coming up. This can be my sad, depressing equivalent to like of paying for a date or something like that, which is kind of sad really. But I thought that's the way I look at it. So look, because obviously it's a bit more expensive than the average dating app. And I thought if I do it that way, I don't feel as bad for spending. You can do your own research to find out how much that dating app costs. But I wouldn't feel as bad because I'd be like, well, I don't have a boyfriend and I'm not dating and I'm not going on a date. So if anything, I've actually saved money. You see? Entrepreneurial thinking. So I got the message on, well, it is the 22nd of February today. I got the text on the 7th. I know Valentine, no, was it the 7th or the 5th? Hang on, let me just check real quick. Yeah, the 7th, so a week before Valentine's Day. And I thought, oh, do you know what? And like I'm scrolling through and I thought, this is what I've waited for. This is what I've been anticipating. And to be fair, I only have myself to blame because no one I've never really known anyone to really gas it up. But like I was under a bit of an illusion. Like me being me stupidly, I thought this app was for like rappers and actors and international stars. That was the impression that I got. I genuinely thought 2 weeks into the app, I'd be like ready to be a wag. You know, I was ready to go get hats. I was willing to cancel my plans with my friends for the rest of the year. But like, it was just giving finance bros and data analysis and just not the prominent like high profile people I was expecting. Like obviously I have seen, if I was to be honest, I've seen like a handful of high profile people. Probably about, when we talk about fame, I'd probably say about, there's a third person I'm thinking of, but I can't think of who it is. About three like very famous people. And like the rest is just your average like data analysis. Obviously, like these are all people that must have a certain level of like clout or what do you call it, clout or money or to some extent, you know? Because I think, I mean, I say that I don't have much money and I'm on the app, but do you know what I mean? But no, I was really, yeah, I was a bit like, oh. So like I haven't gotten to the. I think I'm like 2 weeks. Am I 2 weeks in? No, about 40. Yeah, about just over 2 weeks in. And yet it's not hitting the way it was meant to be hitting. You know, I am quite disappointed, to be honest. Raya, like, giving me like an unfulfilled fantasy. But and like it's weird though because people don't even respond. Like I've matched with some cool people, but like they don't respond. And I thought, you've paid X amount for this app to not even respond to me. Come on, let's not move like that. But yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend it. Oh no, I thought of the third person actually now. But yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend it. Like I do enjoy the idea of, I don't know, maybe I'm just not making the most out of it. And I think another thing that annoys me is you can only do a certain amount of swipes. Like it's really weird if you compare it to like Tinder. So Tinder you can't swipe back, right? This one you can swipe back if you do, but you only get like, it's like it's something really low, like 10 swipes at a time. But that's if you have like the lower tier. You can get like the expensive tier, which gives you like ultimate swipes. But I was just like, nah, like I'm not that invested into it, you know. But yeah, maybe next time I see you guys, I'll have something better to report on. But Raya, you've let me down, bro. You know. But yeah, so I mean, some stuff's been going on which I want to talk about. There's a lot I want to unpack today. You know how it is. Guys, right, so actually this is actually quite exciting, this is quite cool actually. So I went to I went to an event last weekend, yeah, in Archway. It's called Adelaide Nights. So it's like for like it's the only like London, probably UK to be honest, like queer night which is for African queer people to like celebrate like African music, like Afro beats and Afro swing and all of that. Really good night, so much fun. It's so weird. I actually feel like I've been low key reborn. Like I actually hated coming for such a long time. Yeah, like I didn't enjoy it at uni. I somewhat enjoyed it when I left uni, but not for a long time. And now I'm like, oh my god, this is so much fun. But it's weird because I think what I've done is I've actually like started going to things that caters to me and my people. You know, even though I am queer, like I really like love like, ooh, this is really annoying. I really do like love music by my people. I love people that make music for the culture, you know, and whether that being Afro beats, reggae, R&B, rap, hip hop, do you know what I mean? Like it's very much me. And to find that mixture of having that type of music with also it being directed for queer people is quite rare, is extremely rare to be honest. This mic's really me off. I need to get those ones. Yeah, I might put on a recommendation. Have you seen those ones where they like come through like the table? They look so cool. I remember Madame Joyce had them at her old studio, and I thought this is dope. Okay. You need to stay still, boo. Oh, was it that? Right. So, is this gonna work? I think we're gonna have to go with this. I think. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah, so like it's quite rare to have that. So obviously, I think as Black queer people, when we have those events put in place, we jump at the chance because it's not very common that we get to have them. Like it's not very and I think the thing is we make such a big deal out of them because they're so rare, you know, like Bootylicious, Pussy Palace, oh, the love of my life, and Adore Nights. So the person who held this event is a wonderful person called Kemi. Kemi was Kemi is actually the last episode I did with a guest. If you haven't watched it already, please check it out. It's a very informative conversation. I love Kemi so much. I think what she does for the people and for the culture is undeniably one of the best things, one of the best people, one of the best activists I know for sure, without a doubt in mind. So big up Kemi. I love you so much, so much. But yeah, so Kemi does these nights here. And because Kemi's like a very well-known black lesbian in the London scene, her events obviously attract a lot of black lesbians, right? Like inevitably. And I'm completely here for that. So it was very female dominated. I went with one of my friend who's a guy, and then I think if I was to count, I probably saw just over 10 men, maybe, if not even slightly more. And I remember, okay, how do I start this? Guys, this is a sign to shoot your shot. If you're unsure or you don't know what to do and you have nothing to lose, I'm telling you, please shoot your shot. I was in a club last week, right? And I went to the loo, and I was talking to this guy, and I thought he was really handsome and really cute, right? I thought he was really handsome and really cute. My anxious, insecure little mind was like, well, there's obviously no way that he's ever going to be interested in me. That was like the initial thought. And I thought, do you know what? Let me like humble myself and let me not embarrass myself and just keep it moving. So we spoke. He was like, how's your night going? I was like, yeah, pretty good, thank you. How's yours? He was like, yeah, pretty sweet. And I think we may have exchanged a couple of other words, and that was literally it. I was like, oh, have a good evening. No, he was like, have a good evening. I was like, oh, yeah, you too. And I thought, oh, you're really cute. And I actually thought he was straight. Like he was giving very, okay, not to be toxic, but not to be toxic, but he was giving straight. So I was just like, okay, I'm not going to be that person who tries to move to like heterosexuals. It's not for me. Following morning, I wake up to a message saying, I met you last night. 2 dots, two, 10, 10, 10 also lines down the chat. Can I take you out? Guys, listen, shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. I would have never have asked. I would have never have made the move because I'm an insecure little queer. Shoot your shot. What have you got to lose? So take it from there. But yeah, so that's fun. That's exciting. Let me not give too much details in case it doesn't go very well. But yeah, I saw this really interesting thing the other day about, I don't even know how to word it. I saw this really interesting thing the other day about queer people trying to fit into hetero spaces. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I wanted to put my 2 piece on it. I feel like, yeah, as a man who is queer and a man who is black, my anxiety is very heavily heightened in the barber shop, right? In the barber. Like, I know, I appreciate and I understand because the barber for a lot of black men, particularly straight black men, is a safe space and a place of like solidarity and unity. You know, I've obviously like I go to a black barber because I'm half black, and I've over the years I've seen how like it's almost like it almost feels like a form of therapy for black men. That's the like, like it almost feels like a sense of like escapism and like a community like get together, but I don't think that is always the case for men who are queer and black. I feel like as a man who is queer and as a man who is black, I feel very insecure and very anxious about going to a barber, particularly a black barber, because culture for the most part for a lot of the part for black men is like very like hegemonic, very like hyper masculine, and like some of the conversations I've heard in the barber are just things that I would never repeat because I probably would get a warning from YouTube. But like some of the things I hear are horrific, and it's so difficult because like, obviously it's not one of those things where like you feel ashamed of your sexual orientation or who you are, but it's assessing and realizing that there are certain situations and certain places where like you do not feel safe, and it is not worth putting yourself at risk to for what. It's a very common conversation where like and can I just say this actually doesn't apply to my barber. I would actually count my barber as a friend. I actually really like him. I think he's a very cool guy. It's so interesting because we've never had a conversation about like dating and stuff really, but he follows my podcast, so I don't think I think he's with the quiz as in like an ally. He's got a girlfriend. It's not like that. But it should be like for everybody, And he has kind of, it's weird. He's probably given me a bit of reassurance that not everyone's like that, because these conversations in these barbers, they can be that I've heard things ranging from like homophobia to sexual assault to really really horrific things, and I think because a lot of queer black men have more political standpoint and are more like aware of social issues, it can really rub us up the wrong way. Because even if you're like straight passing or not queer or gay visibly, that doesn't make the situation less uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, I do feel very uncomfortable for the most part going to a black barber, because it kind of like makes me feel like, I guess, like emasculated in a sense, because even though like I am like a queer man who is flamboyant, um I feel like the barber can sometimes be a reminder that this is what like traditional stereotypical black men are supposed to be like. Obviously like that is forever changing and shifting and like moving into different ways, but you can't help but feel a certain type of way when you're in that environment, and you need to be in that environment, because like I need to get a haircut, I need to get my hair trimmed. I don't have the alternative or the other accessibility to take to do something else. I so wish I could cut my own hair, but I mean I feel like it wasn't too bad when I was just like doing like a skin fade, but now that I've got like all these crazy curls, it's a bit like don't know. But yeah, I don't know, but it's weird, and I would love to have a conversation with my barber. Like we've spoken about, it's weird, we have spoken about like things that I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about with other barbers. Like, I've never told him about my dating life or anything like that. But like he follows my podcast and he likes my stuff about like being queer and Jamaican, so I think he's with it. Yeah, I'd say so. Big up my barber, because there's not many like him. That's yeah, big up him. Yeah. I guess that kind of moves on to the conversation about masculine men in the gay community. I think this is, and this is so like, I don't know if this is like taboo or like, I don't know, but I feel like, do you know what it is, right? I think what the issue is for a lot of people, when someone is masculine or like not very flamboyant or not gay presenting from the jump, when you tell someone that you're gay or queer, it's quite a shock. It's like, oh, like I remember like people have said to me, like, oh, like I didn't realize you were gay, I didn't realize you were queer. And I'm thinking, well, like, what does a gay or queer person look like? And I think this narrow-minded way in which gay or queer people are supposed to behave or supposed to act is so outdated and so stupid. And I think the reason why because there is like a real lack of there is a real lack of like gay there is a real lack of gay masculine men in the UK, right? And I think that's because of the way we react to it. I think because gayness and queerness is so heavily associated with being flamboyant and with being feminine, I think a lot of people who are masculine and do like men kind of feel somewhat demasculated to have those feelings and emotions. And that's why our DL community is so huge. That's why our DL community is so huge, because we don't give the space and the grace for it to be seen as normal for gay men to be masculine and to thrive, you know. And I think also that's why, because masculine gay men are so desirable, they are so heavily desirable, and it's because we don't have much of it. I think if we created a space and a society and a culture which normalized gayness and queerness with being masculine, the desirability to be with a man who is masculine would decrease, you know. Because it's almost like for the most part being gay and being masculine is a rarity, which it isn't. It just isn't like presented and shown. It's not very common because people aren't out, and it is a real culture thing, because there are so many masculine gay men in the US, so many. And I know that people say that, oh, but like there's so much their country's so much bigger, which I completely understand. But like we are in the top 5 countries that have the most influence and prominence, the States and the UK being both. Do you know what I mean? And I just think if we can't create a space big and accepting enough in the UK, what chance do other countries have? You know? You can also kind of argue that, like, I think the whole process of coming out can actually make identifying or like coming to terms with your sexuality a bit more difficult, because because let's be honest, coming out is very exciting. Coming out is very exciting. It's like your life is like just beginning. But I think it's really important to remember that not everyone has that luck or fortune. Coming out can be very, very traumatic for some people and very, very difficult, you know? And I think also having like, and people like want to, for the most part, people want to like make it such a like, well, no, even more so from outsiders, they want to make it such an exaggerated event, like, oh my god, so and so's come out. I really love the idea of, I mean, I never did this. I really love the idea of like hypothetically having a child who is queer or gay or on the LGBTQ plus spectrum, and for them to just say to me one day, oh dad, I'm bringing someone home, I'd love for you to meet them, I am. But okay, great. Can't wait to meet them. Wonderful. You know, I feel like there's so much. I feel like coming out just isn't necessary. I really love the idea of just being like, oh well, I'm dating someone. Like, I'd love for you to meet them. You know, because I think like as a society, like we have such a shock factor when people come out, and it's like, and it's just so. I think it's really outdated. Obviously, like I don't want to like neglect or to what's the word? Ignore how significant coming out is for everybody, because it's the step to something completely new and fresh. You know, I'm not trying to diminish that. I just feel like it can add on a lot of extra pressure, unnecessary pressure to queer people. And I just think if you're able to avoid that, why would you not? You know? But obviously, like it's very subjective and we all think differently. But I don't know. I don't know. That's just my my take, personally. So I said to my people the other day, I was like, guys, what should I talk about? Like, I want to be like more interactive. I want to know what like you guys want me to talk about. So I said to my people, I was like, what should I talk about this week? Like, I'm intrigued to hear your takes and your preferences. What are you thinking? And someone said to me, they were like, oh, Jord, like, I would love for you to talk about age gaps. I said, ooh. I said, ooh. I said, ooh, say less. I said, ooh, say more. Age gaps. I was like, ooh, okay. I have a very like, I have a very like, I don't even know if it's controversial. I think it's just normal to like have the take that I do. Okay. I feel like, power dynamics are inevitable in any age gap, whether that's teenager to 20s, 20s to 40s, 40s to 50s. I think for the most part, if you are older, naturally you have more knowledge, to an extent more money, what else? More resources and more experience for the most part. Like I think that's inevitable with any age. Obviously there are some age gaps where like it doesn't have as much as an effect. So like as you get older, but like especially when you're younger, I think that's when it's a bit scary. Like I find it very confusing and very mad that people who are in their mid 20s and above are dating teenagers. And obviously like I get it's each to their own. I get that it's subjective and it's so dependent on the individual. And I do feel I used to be very like, oh no, it's so wrong. But now like I did have a conversation with someone about it and I kind of see it a lot differently. But like for the most part, if you're in your mid to late 20s, why are you dating a teenager? Why are you dating a teenager? Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like I've known like people in their like late 20s dating teenagers and I think, but why is there no one available in the 20 bracket? And like what are your conversations about? GCSEs, sweets, provisional licenses? You know, it's a bit booky. It's a bit booky. And I think to myself, I'm like, what actually got you into that situation that you had an interest to be talking to a teenager? Because the power dynamic is inevitable. The power dynamic is inevitable and very present, you know? And I think you could be with like the smartest teenager on the block. But for the most part, when you're hitting 30, is that really what you want? But I will say this though. I will say this. I do think that there is a difference between what age in someone you date to what age in someone you sleep with. I think they can be lower. And I say that because, not to make it weird, but I say that because if it's a one-off and you're like sleeping with somebody or you're doing something with somebody, yeah, the power dynamic is not present. The power dynamic is not inevitable. You could literally, and I don't want to encourage it because I also do look a bit sideways at people that are actively trying to get with people significantly younger. However, if it naturally happens, I don't think people should be ridiculed for that. You know, like I remember when I had a friend who was 20 something, 23 or 24, and they told me they'd gotten with a 19-year-old. And I was like, oh, right, okay. And I was like, well, what was the context? And my friend won't mind me saying this. And they were like, oh, like, it was just a one-off. Like, it just happened. And I think they actually met in a club, to be fair. I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. I said to my mate, I was like, but that's not the same, though. I was like, that's not the same. I was like, I don't know how to word this without seeming creepy, but like it's not the same energy, you know? Like it's not like you're actively looking for it, and it's not like you're like seeking out teenagers. Like, and also, but someone did say to me that, and I thought this was really interesting. A friend of mine said to me, she was like, but what if someone who is like 20 or 19 or whatever is very, how did he word it? Is like a very high position, for their age and they're at a company, and there is someone who is like 10 years their senior who's also in the same position. And I was like, do you know what? Because a year, 2 years ago, I'd be like, I don't think that really works, to be honest. But now I'm like, do you know what? I hear it. I actually hear it. But for the most part, I just don't get it. And I think for me, because obviously I'm 26 years old, you know, I'm a middle, I'm not a middle, but I'm getting on, you know. And I think about when I was 18. I think about when I was 18, and I would be like contacted, by men in their 20s and their 30s, you know. I don't think I've actually been seen or perceived as more desirable than I supposedly was when I was a teenager, and that's not right. That's not right. How have I, as a 26-year-old man, got less attention now from older men than I did when I was 18 years old? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And when I see situations like that, and it makes me think to myself, like, I could never date anyone below the age of 21. And even 21's pushing it a little bit, to be honest, but for the minimum, you know? So like when I try hard not to judge, because I have to see things through a different lens. And then I think to myself, but what is it about them that you like? And why is it you can't get someone your own age? I don't know. It's one of those things where it's so black and white, and it's never linear, and there'll never be like a direct answer. But I don't know. It's something I'm really trying to get my head around, because I don't understand why you would do that. To be fair, but then here's the thing though. If the power dynamic is always present, which I believe is to some extent, does that make me any better? Because do you know, I've always said my preference is my age, but it's probably older, you know, probably older. So I'm 26, yeah, and I would happily date someone who's like 32, 33. But the question is, does that make me as bad? Does me as a 26-year-old man, does it make me as bad to be attracted or purposely looking for men who are older? Do you know what I mean? I get it's not the same, because like you're not at that like premature age, but does it really make me any better? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, this is one of those things where like I don't know a direct answer. I am concerned with people that actively look for people significantly younger. And another thing is, yeah, I always find the bit that gets to me is the justification, you know? People having to constantly justify their reasoning and their decision. And I just think, do you know what? If you've chosen to be with someone of that age, own it. Own it. You know, embrace it. Like, obviously, like I said before, I don't really subscribe to people dating someone that much younger. However, if a friend, not me losing my voice. Oh my God, no way. I've got another episode to film after. If a friend said to me, oh, like, I'm dating so and so, they are this old, like, and I'm really happy, I'd be like, do you know what? Big up you. Good for you. It's when they hide it and sugarcoat it. That's when I remember I had a friend, right? I had a friend in sixth form, and I remember him telling me that he was dating a girl, and I was, oh, wicked. Can't wait to meet her. Good for you, yeah. And she was 16 and he was 18. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, but whatever. But yeah, she was 16, he was 18. And I remember he never told me her age until later on. And I said to him, I was, oh, like, what subjects does she do, yeah? Thinking she was obviously... My nose is burning. Thinking she was obviously doing A-levels like the rest of us. And the GCSE, her GCSE options, which he gave me were... the GCSE options that he told me he made out like they were her A-levels. And it's just crap like that. I just think, just own it. Just own it. Like, I don't know. This is a very controversial topic, and it's never, I don't know. Let me leave that for another day. Okay, right. So, guys, let's talk about the last part. So, Neyo's been the topic of conversation recently, and I think this is, do you know what? I think this is I think this is very interesting. I'm very intrigued. Okay, right. R&B singer Neo adds fourth wife to join his growing harem after coming out as polyamorous. The hitmaker is now dating his backup dancer, Brianna Williams. He is already in a polyamorous relationship with three other women. Neo appears to have added a fourth wife to his growing list of girlfriends. Recently came out as poly after going public with his three lovers, who he calls them his wives, despite not being legally married to either of them. And I think I just want to end this conversation by like talking about polyamorous. Do you know what? I'm so intrigued by it. Like I'm so intrigued by it. I personally I could never be poly because I'm so jealous and I'm so insecure. Like it would never be something that I could sit right with. However, I do think it is the new trend. I do think it is the new trend because I'm very like conscious and aware of how like one partner will never fulfill every single need and tick every box. I don't think there's anyone for anyone who will do everything right. Inevitably, you know, we all date people and we all know people who have like some flaws, even if they're not like crazy bad, they're still minor. But yeah, I don't think there's ever like a time where like someone will like be able to tick all your boxes. So I actually do. I think if you can, I think if you're relaxed and you can communicate and you're relatively tame and chill, I think poly is a great move. You know, I'm so. I think people are so against and taboo about it because it kind of goes against tradition. I think that's the main thing because like someone was saying about how basically well if we go like 30, 40 years down the line things may completely change, you know? And I think do you know what fair like there was a time and I know it's not the same because it's like monogamous, but there was a time when like queer relationships were frowned upon or like interracial relationships were frowned upon, you know? It's just one of those things where you're like getting to this stage of normalization. And I think also, I mean, I'm not a poly person. I don't know many people that openly are to me. And I think also, I don't want to say it's like a justification or an excuse to not cheat. That's not what I want to say. But I think it can stop those urges. I don't know. I would love to have a conversation with someone who's poly. I have briefly, but I didn't find out to the end of the episode. So he literally like threw it all on me. I was like, oh, I've only got like 2 minutes left on my slot. But yeah, I'm so intrigued, guys. So intrigued. Like I just feel like people can be really judgmental when it comes to it and really like pessimistic. But I'm so for it. But then my mentality has always been very much like as long as you're not doing anything illegal or purposely harming people or breaking morals or ethics, go wild. Go wild. I think Neo though, I believe Neo like relentlessly cheated on his wife, if I remember so rightly. Because I think his wife made some like don't know whether it was a claim or an Instagram post or some kind of report, and was very much like, yeah, like he's a cheating dog, basically. And I think, and obviously this isn't the case for everyone, but I do think this is a very more logical and like better alternative instead of like, well, cheating and like having sex with God knows how many women and men and non-gender conforming people. That's just my take. These takes are all my own. I don't get paid for them. Honestly, guys, we need to get me out of the street so I can get mics that come through the door. Come through the door. I've got another episode as well. Come through the table. All right, guys. I think we're done here. Thank you for making it to the end if you did, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope this episode was, yeah. I think I was trying to like trial out solo episodes, and I do like it. To be fair, it is good fun. It's just you have to have like a lot of things to say, a lot of things. I really enjoy doing it when I do shows and stuff. I think that's really fun. I'll never stop doing that. But yeah, I will. See you guys maybe will it be next week? No, it won't be. Wait, it might be actually. It might be next week. It might be next week if God's good and the editor's quick. My name is Jord Hailwood, and this is the Winning Side podcast. Thank you so much for watching and making it to the end. Guys, it makes my life a lot easier if you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is very generous, and I do hear that. So if you don't want to subscribe, just like it. Just like it. Just boost it. And a 5-star rating on Spotify. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. I will see you all very soon. And yeah, big love.